Oh my God, what is that?
Get back! Get back! Get back!
Oh my God, look out!
They brought thousands of rat killers to the Hawaiian Islands, but what they did shocked the world. Hawaii, a paradise born from fire and sea, where nature once lived in perfect balance. For millions of years, its emerald islands drifted in isolation, crafting a world found nowhere else on Earth. Birds nested on the ground without fear. Forests whispered with life untouched by teeth or claws. And every creature fit its place in a fragile, flawless design. But that peace didn't last. When ships crossed the Pacific, they carried more than people and trade. They carried chaos. Stowaway rats arrived first, gnawing their way into the heart of paradise. And when humans tried to fight that, they unleashed something even worse: the small Indian mongoose. What was meant to be salvation soon became a second disaster. How did a simple plan to save Hawaii's crops spiral into one of the greatest ecological catastrophes in island history? Let's find out. The rat invasion, an economic and ecological maelstrom. Hawaii in the 1800s was a boom story written in sugar. Cane fields spread, ships multiplied, and with them came a stealth cargo: rats. Not a flood at first, just a few shadows slipping down gangplanks, noses twitching at the smell of sweet stalks and spilled grain. On these islands, the table was set. Endless food, no natural mammalian predators. A buffet of cane, seeds, eggs, and garbage behind plantation camps. Rats did what rats do best: they multiplied. The numbers are the first shock. A female can have 3 to 6 litters per year, 4 to 8 pups per litter. One pair becomes 20 to 40 offspring in a single year. Those offspring breed within months. By the next season, fields crawl. The second shock is economic. Sugar isn't just a crop. In the late 19th century, it's the spine of the island's economy. Rats gnaw through stalks and bore into nodes, collapsing yields. By the early 20th century, losses were routinely counted in the millions of dollars per year. Every harvest feels like a siege, and the defenders are outnumbered. So, why not trap them? Why not poison them? Because rats are learners. They skirt steel jaws. They sample baits, survive, and pass on caution. Poisons kill the reckless, leaving the wary to breed. The longer the war, the smarter the enemy. Meanwhile, nature pays the deeper price. Before people, Hawaii had no mammalian predators. Ground-nesting seabirds evolved without teeth to fear. Hawaiian petrels wheel out over black water, then tuck eggs into burrows. Nene graze uplands and nest on the ground. To a nocturnal omnivore, this is not a sanctuary, it's a pantry. Nights turn violent. Eggs vanish, chicks disappear. Even green sea turtle nests, buried above the tide line, are raided under moonlight. Species found nowhere else on Earth stumble toward silence. And humans aren't spared. Rats move through camps, wharfs, canals, and cisterns, dragging microbes behind them. Leptospirosis, rat fever, a bacterium shed in urine washed by rain into soils and streams. Symptoms range from flu-like chills to liver and kidney failure. In a warm, wet climate, risk climbs. Field hands, taro farmers, hunters, swimmers, the exposed and the outdoors carry the burden. Bubonic plague. Fleas ride rats off ships and into markets and alleys. In the early 1900s, outbreaks struck port districts like Honolulu. Authorities answer with quarantines and fire. Entire blocks burned to halt the spread. The message is brutal and clear. In a port economy, contagion travels at ship speed. By then, the archipelago faces a triple crisis. Economic. Cane chewed down to losses counted in 7 figures. Ecological. Endemic birds and turtles collapsing under nocturnal raids. Public health. A steady drumbeat of rodent-linked disease. Planters and officials search for a fix. Fast, cheap, decisive. Traps and poisons have hit their ceiling. The rats keep breeding in the dark. And so the stage is set for a desperate gambit. If the problem is a nocturnal invader that eats anything it can find, then perhaps the answer is teeth of our own. A predator. Import it, release it, let it hunt. What came next would make history, not as a solution, but as the second catastrophe. The mongoose fix that broke everything. By the late 19th century, Hawaii's rat problem had turned catastrophic. Sugar plantations, the backbone of the island's economy, were losing millions of dollars annually as rats chewed through fields, spoiled stored crops, and spread disease. Desperate for relief, planters looked abroad for a miracle and found one, or so they thought, in Jamaica. There, farmers had tamed their own rat plague by importing the small Indian mongoose, Herpestis javanicus, a quick and cunning predator famed for hunting snakes and rodents. The reports sounded promising. Between 1872 and 1877, Hawaiian plantation owners followed suit, bringing 72 mongooses from Jamaica and releasing them along the Hamakua coast of Hawaii Island. The plan was simple: unleash a hunter, erase a pest. But there was one fatal oversight. Rats are nocturnal. Mongooses are diurnal. They live on opposite schedules, one prowling at night, the other by day. The solution and the problem would rarely meet. Deprived of rats, the mongooses turned their attention elsewhere. Hawaii, rich with small, unprotected life, became a feast. Insects, reptiles, eggs, chicks, even domestic poultry, nothing was safe. Females reached sexual maturity in 4 to 5 months, breeding up to 3 times a year with 2 to 4 pups per litter. With no natural predators, the mongoose population exploded across Hawaii, Maui, Molokai, and Oahu, leaving only Kauai free, thanks to a worker bitten during an early release attempt, prompting the island to refuse further introductions. By the early 20th century, the mongoose was everywhere. Instead of saving sugar, it was gutting the island's ecology. Ground-nesting birds, unaccustomed to predators, became easy prey. The Hawaiian goose, Nane, once about 25,000 strong in the 1950s, plummeted to just 30 individuals, a 99% collapse. In the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, studies from 1978 to 1981 revealed that 77% of Nane eggs lost during breeding were destroyed by mongooses. Other victims followed. The Hawaiian rail, last seen in 1884, vanished. The Kauai o'o, silenced by 1985, became another ghost in the forest. Farms also suffered. Mongooses raided poultry coops, stealing eggs and killing chicks. Reports from Kaimuki and Hilo in the early 1900s described nightly attacks and egg thefts so common that farmers built steel mesh pens sunk deep into the soil to keep them out. Then came a cruel echo of the rat years. Mongooses, too, carried leptospirosis, contaminating water troughs and pastures. The bacteria infected livestock, causing abortions in cattle, infertility in pigs, and kidney disease in horses, further tightening the noose on agriculture. And by destroying insect-eating native birds, mongooses opened the door for crop-eating insects to surge. The rat killers had become saboteurs, turning one plague into 3. In the end, Hawaii's supposed saviors made the island's nightmare complete. Rats ruled the nights, mongooses ruled the days, a 24-hour cycle of destruction. What began in 1872 as a clever experiment became one of history's greatest ecological blunders, a lesson written in feathers, fields, and the silence of vanished songs. The Long War: How Hawaii Fights Back. More than a century after their arrival, mongooses remain one of Hawaii's most stubborn invaders. There are no silver bullets now, only hard, continuous work, fought trap by trap, fence by habit. The first line of defense is trapping. special wire cage traps baited with eggs or meat are set across fields and coastal refuges. It sounds simple, but mongooses learn fast. Early on, a team might catch one mongoose every 6 to 7 days. Within months, that rate drops to one every 20 days as survivors grow cautious. To keep pace, field crews rotate baits, shift trap sites, and check traps daily to avoid spoiled lures. On critical coasts like Kilauea Point and James Campbell Refuge, this rotation becomes a daily ritual. Every animal caught means one less predator near the nests of Hawaiian petrels and nene. The second line of defense is fortress nesting, fencing key rookeries with predator-proof barriers. These walls rise 6 feet high, sink a foot into the soil, and curve outward to stop climbing. Constructed of fine stainless mesh, each mile costs $200,000 to $400,000. But the results speak for themselves. At Kaena Point, the first such fence built in 2011 turned a ravaged coastline into a sanctuary. By 2020, seabird nests inside had tripled, proving that precision engineering can reverse a century of predation. Then there's the community effort, hygiene, and awareness. Every uncovered trash can, spilled feed bin, or open chicken coop fuels predator populations. Locals and tourists alike are urged to clean campsites, secure food, and seal waste. What seems like small acts of tidiness adds up to a powerful deterrent when multiplied across thousands of homes and parks. On smaller offshore islets, Hawaii takes the fight further: eradication. Here, geography becomes an ally. With clear boundaries and no residents, conservation teams can blanket the terrain with dense trap grids. Complete removal has already been achieved on 6 islands totaling 284 acres, creating permanent sanctuaries for species like the Newell shearwater and Hawaiian petrel. Each success costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, but the reward is a restored ecosystem. On large islands like Oahu and the Big Island, total eradication remains impossible. Instead, wildlife agencies focus on defensible zones, fenced sanctuaries, coastal buffers, and continued trapping pressure to keep populations from rebounding. The war against the mongoose is no longer about triumph, but endurance. It's fought with patience, wire, education, and persistence. Every trap checked, every chick fledged, every camper who packs
Pull it
up their
tighter
food
on that side.
strengthens the line of defense.
Okay, hold it there.
It took one
I'm securing
ship
the bottom
to
now.
unleash the mongoose on Hawaii. It will take generations of vigilance to undo the damage, but the fight endures, one quiet victory at a time. Other invaders turning the screws. The mongoose isn't Hawaii's only mistake or its only monster. Across the islands, other outsiders have taken root, each reshaping the land in ways their introducers never imagined. Some walk on hooves, others on claws, and one, ironically, arrived in a gilded cage. Together, they form a new generation of invaders, grinding down what's left of Hawaii's natural defenses. Feral pigs, bulldozers with tusks. Their story begins with Captain James Cook, who in 1778 brought European swine to the islands. Over the centuries, those pigs interbred with Polynesian pigs brought by the earliest settlers, creating a hybrid, larger, tougher, and far more destructive. By the 20th century, feral pigs were everywhere. Today, they roam every major island except Lanai, with population densities reaching 60 individuals per 4 square miles in forested regions. What they destroy cannot be overstated. Rooting for food, pigs tear into the soil like natural bulldozers, carving trenches up to 16 inches deep. They shred ferns, mosses, and seedlings, the living carpet that once anchored the forest floor. When the rains come, that protection is gone. Stormwater rushes downhill, runoff increases by 300 to 500%, and rivers choke with mud. Sediment spills into coastal streams, suffocating native shrimp and fish that evolved in crystal clear water. The ecological dominoes keep falling.
By eating young plants and gnawing on roots, pigs halt the regeneration of keystone trees like Ohia lahua, which form the backbone of native forests. In their place rise fast-growing invaders. The culprits? Often carried in the pigs' own bellies. After feasting on fruits like strawberry guava and cat's claw creeper, they wander miles before dropping the seeds in new territory, wrapped in fertilizer. It's a perfect delivery system for weeds that outcompete Hawaii's delicate natives. But the most insidious damage may come from water, not soil. The holes pigs dig fill with rain, turning into mosquito nurseries. Those mosquitoes, especially the southern house mosquito, Culex quinquefasciatus, carry avian malaria and avian pox, diseases to which Hawaii's birds have zero immunity. The result has been devastating. Species like the ii, once abundant, are now retreating uphill, forced into cooler elevations where mosquitoes can't survive. But as the climate warms, those safe zones shrink year by year. The pigs keep digging, and the mosquitoes keep climbing. Rose-ringed parakeets, charm turned chaos. They arrived in the 1960s, brought as exotic pets from South Asia and Africa. Brilliant green, long-tailed, and intelligent, they seemed harmless until they escaped. Over time, a few hundred turned into flocks of thousands. On Kauai, where about 200 birds were recorded in the 1990s, their numbers exploded to over 12,500 by 2021, a 6,000% population surge in just 3 decades. The damage came fast. Flocks of parakeets sweep through farms like living storms, tearing into breadfruit, lychee, longan, corn, and sunflower. Studies show average losses of 10%, climbing to 30% in bad years, especially for small family farms. Their feeding frenzies leave not just bare branches, but shredded, unripe fruit waste on top of ruin. In the wild, the story is just as grim. These parrots, aggressive and territorial, seize nesting cavities and food from native birds. Their presence pressures endangered species and may spread avian malaria as they move between forest and farmland. By eating and dispersing seeds of invasive plants, they unwittingly amplify another front in Hawaii's ongoing ecological war. Even cities aren't spared. In towns like Lihue and Kapa, hundreds roost in trees, filling the air with shrill calls and coating sidewalks and roofs with droppings. Residents complain of sleepless nights and sanitation risks, but removal is difficult. Every captured bird feels like a drop in a green storm. Lessons from an island laboratory. Hawaii has become many things over the past 2 centuries. A crossroads of culture, a hub of trade, and, perhaps unintentionally, the world's most revealing ecological experiment. Nowhere else shows so clearly what happens when human ingenuity collides with nature's complexity. Every mistake, every recovery, every hard-earned success becomes a lesson written in soil, feathers, and time. Biocontrol demands humility. When Hawaii released the small Indian mongoose, Herpestes javanicus, in the 1870s, it wasn't out of malice. It was faith in reason that one clever species could fix another. But the math failed. Rats ruled the night, mongooses ruled the day. Their lives never crossed, and the solution became a new disaster. It's the same trap biocontrol often falls into, treating an ecosystem like a machine instead of a web. If you miss the details, the timing of activity, the breadth of diet, the lure of alternative prey, you don't fix a system, you break it in new directions. Hawaii's fields, stripped of songbirds and filled with invasive weeds, stand as proof. Humility, not haste, must guide intervention. In ecological restoration projects launched since the 1990s, biologists now simulate outcomes before any release, modeling feeding cycles, habitat overlap, and escape risks. Every control agent undergoes multi-year impact assessments to ensure one cure doesn't birth 3 new plagues. Protect the keystones, protect the system. The species most worth saving are often the quiet architects of balance. When Nene geese graze, they spread native seeds. When Hawaiian petrels return to their nest, their guano fertilizes coastal vegetation that anchors dunes and protects turtle rookeries. Lose them and the system unravels. That's why Hawaii invests heavily in predator-proof sanctuaries. The fence at Kaiana Point, completed in 2011 for about $290,000, was one of the first in the Pacific. By 2020, seabird nests inside had tripled, with hatching success rates rising above 80%. These fortresses aren't just defenses, they're keystones rebuilt, the biological scaffolding of recovery. Each success reinforces another. More birds mean fewer crop-eating insects, stronger dunes, and restored forests. Protect the keystones, and nature begins to heal itself. Prevention beats repair. Once an invader spreads, it's not eradicated, it's managed, at cost forever. Trapping mongooses costs millions annually, and feral pig control programs consume thousands of hours each year. The bill for cleanup grows, the odds of full recovery shrink. That's why biosecurity, the guarding of what hasn't yet arrived, has become Hawaii's frontline defense. Cargo inspections, rapid response teams, and public reporting hotlines now form a living firewall. On smaller islands, early removal campaigns save decades of work later. The moral is simple. Every rat caught at the dock saves a reef down the line. People power matters. In the end, every grand conservation plan depends on something smaller: daily discipline. Clean campgrounds, sealed trash, reinforced chicken coops, reporting a mongoose sighting before it multiplies. Across Hawaii's 1.4 million residents and millions more visitors each year, those choices stack up. They keep food off the ground, predators out of nests, and ecosystems breathing a little easier. Policy and science draw the blueprints, but it's communities that keep the lights on. The war against invasive species isn't just fought by scientists with traps, it's fought by everyone who calls the islands home. The road ahead. Hawaii's story is not just about rats and mongooses. It's about feedback loops. Rats crash bird colonies, mongooses accelerate the crash by day. Pigs engineer mosquito factories that deliver disease to the survivors. Parakeets siphon food in nests. Each invader amplifies the others. Yet, islands are also where recovery can be fastest. One fenced ridge can turn a seabird season from 0 to fledglings. A protected beach can double turtle hatchlings. A cleaned campsite can starve 100 nightly raids. The work is painstaking, rarely glamorous, but it works. Hawaii remains a sanctuary if we defend it like one. That means science-led control, relentless biosecurity, habitat repair, and an island-wide ethic of care. Replace silver bullets with systems thinking, and a fragile archipelago becomes resilient again. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to follow. We have many more exciting stories coming up tomorrow. Thanks for watching.